Nightcap. Conversations on the arts and letters. With hosts, Studs Terkel and Calvin Trillin. Nightcap will be right back. Tonight's guests are Alfred Eisenstaedt, a founding member of the legendary staff photographers of Life magazine, whose subjects have included the world's most influential people. Roman Vishniac, biologist, scholar, and the father of microphotography, best known for his portraits of Eastern European Jews in the 1930s. Cornell Capa, founder of the International Center for Photography, whose theory of the concerned photographer established him as a political force in journalism.
Our guests are three masters in the art of black and white photography.
And color.
And color.
Yes.
And color photography. Some would say pioneers. They certainly have recorded contemporary history. Some would say helped mold it.
You know, I've always been a great fan of photography, particularly photojournalism. I used to pick up Life magazine on Mondays or Tuesdays when it came out to see what was going to be on it, and sometimes I'd just say, wow, that really captured something. But I never knew why. I mean, I never knew why I felt that way. I mean, say one of your most famous pictures of the sailor kissing the girl on VJ Day in Times Square. I know that that picture has captured what you call the storytelling moment. I mean, I know that really is about the end of that part of the war. But you must have taken hundreds of pictures that day, right?
I took hundreds, yes, many, many rolls.
When did you know that was the good one, and why is it the good
No,
one?
I didn't know.
I don't mean
that,
none of the
that,
others are any good, Mr. Eisenstaedt.
And at that moment, naturally, I didn't know it. You see, when such fast things happen, you can't even think very much. My brain, for instance, is disconnected. I have only to think, let's say, see with my eyes and release it with my fingers.
And did
so
you,
fast, I can't even think.
Did you take a lot of pictures of sailors kissing girls?
No, no, no.
That was the only one?
No, I took a few other sailors, but I don't have those negatives anymore. Of this specific sailor, that famous picture, about 4 or 5 frames. I think
and
4 frames.
Why is it that one? Is it, or maybe the other photographers here know better because it wasn't your picture, but why, what was it about that picture? Was it partly the composition? I mean, partly the black against white?
No, this picture personifies the end of the war. I mean, this, you know, everybody was kissing anybody. And I followed that sailor for about a block or 2 blocks, and he grabbed anybody in sight, any woman in sight, whether it was a grandma, right. And I always back that in photograph because it didn't look good. Because the sailor was dressed in navy blue, and when he grabbed the grandma also in a dark dress, it didn't look good. Yeah. Finally, I saw a slight young girl being kissed, and I photographed it.
One other picture of yours, many celebrate, the one I remember, was during the Mussolini bombing of Ethiopia. There was a detail that Ethiopian soldiers' scuffed feet.
It was not during the bombing, it was before the war started.
Before the war.
You see, I was there before the war started, and it was done during a maneuver of the barefoot army. And everybody thought it was a dead soldier. It was not a dead. They had a hippo skin, let's say.
Is it true that a lot of the thrust of your work, of all three of you, you tend to take pictures as essays? I mean, groups of pictures. I mean, for instance, your work in Latin America isn't a matter of here's one picture, but here's a group of pictures that tells a story.
Well, you're correct in many ways, but maybe Roman is different in that one also because right. He has a body of work.
Right.
Like his pictures of the Eastern European Jews before the World War II. He didn't do it for a magazine, he didn't do it for storytelling. He did it, he documented a life that he thought might vanish.
Right.
So it became a body of work.
He recorded it, really. He was almost a literal, pure recorder, because
Right.
it wasn't for any commercial purpose even.
And it was not for publication.
Right. Well, one of the things that interests me about your first, or I guess the first project you were best known for, which was to record the life of Polish Jews, is that the photojournalists then were sent out with the expectation that if they came back with the right pictures and things worked right, there would be an essay in Life magazine or Perry Match or Look magazine or something, and people would see this and be affected by it. But you took this project on without the expectation that it would ever see that anybody would ever see it, or at least without the certainty that anybody would ever see it. What was on your mind?
I tried at first to help people, to save people, to really save people by buying, and this was possible. It was possible in the 30s. Buy people not to kill 100,000 or to get 200,000 Jews out of the country. But the organization didn't believe the stories. When I came, it said that 1 million of Jews will be killed. You cannot kill 1 million because this will begin the epidemics. That's what they started to speak, and they didn't take it serious. And when I saw that I cannot save human life, I wanted to save the memory, the faces, the personalities of these people. And Eric Solomon said, what you are doing is madness, because this is so dangerous. You will be killed, you will be... I was 11 times in prison, and I didn't mind. I had 2 concentration camps, and I don't mind. I had 2 death sentences, and I jumped 3 times from the 2nd and 3rd floor. I don't mind.
Roman Vishniac is really a classic case of the participant, not simply the detached photographer. This is what you're talking about, Cornell, aren't you? He's the engaged man. I mean, talk about engaged. He's in it.
Well, I did two books, which I edited 2 books, which were called The Concerned Photographer.
Concern.
And Roman Vishniac was in one of those volumes. So there you are.
How is this what you all have done relate to the sort of photography that we see now, probably to a certain extent in your museum, but particularly I'm thinking of, say, Museum of Modern Art. They have a photography show. There's one picture of something, and they're even talking about huge amounts of money for this one picture. Are these people doing different things, say the photographers now, the younger photographers, or are they part in the same tradition?
Well, I think you're touching on a wonderful contemporary subject, of course. And the photographs of Roman Vishniac, the photographs of Eisenstaedt, are documents and great photographs which transcend their time. They may have been great newsy pictures at the time when they were taken, or they were documents when they were taken. But today, they are great photographs. Now, it is very difficult to go out this morning and take a great photograph.
Right.
So it takes 30, 40, 50 years before one really realizes Mona Lisa is Mona Lisa. Now, how do you make works of art? At order, conceptual photographs. Well, of course, visual photographs are really like, photography is a language.
Right.
And you write with light is photography.
You write with light, you say.
Correct. So what do you write with light? You can write everything what you can write with words. Poetry, novel, short story, essay, whatever you like. A catalog. Photography can do all of that.
Portraits of Eisenstaedt. The portraits, writing by light is the phrase Cornell used.
I like this word. I've never heard it, but I love it.
Writing by light.
Said, writing by light or
With
writing
light.
with light?
With light. How did
Writing
you
with
write
light.
with
That's very
light
good.
your portraits? Consider a few that come to your mind.
Oh, I tell you a very funny story about former Vice President Spiro Agnew. had to take portraits of him. And when I got the assignment from our editor, not managing editor, from our article editor, he said, we want only a black and white photograph of him, not much more. We don't care so much for him. And try to do their best. But I was naturally out also to try to take a cover. Do you want a cover? Oh, we wouldn't never do a cover of it. So I had an appointment, let's say, on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I was there already at 1 o'clock. Day before, Marshall Thompson, his press secretary, called me and said, Mr. Eisenstaedt, Vice President, I have given permission to photograph him in his office. Would you permit me to come with a White House photographer to do also a picture? Of course, you're the press secretary, you know. So I was there as usual an hour earlier. And the Secret Service men didn't whisk me, but they looked at me. I came to the office, not his office, to the front office, where the secretary said, I like to see his office to measure my light. He says, of course, Mr. Eisenstaedt, just follow me. She went in, and I thought the vice president is there, but I stood right in front of him, apologized that I'm there. He said, I wanted to measure my light, took my Lunar Pro out, held it, and he thought back, and I thought he thought it's a revolver. I said, it's only a light meter. Said, I have an appointment in about an hour, and I have to report to Marshall Thompson. So I went out. 15 minutes later, he came and said I should come in. I said, I handle Marshall Thompson. So I photographed him for 5 minutes, and he never spoke to me. It was my most reluctant subject.
Well, he had a lot of things to be reluctant about, you know.
No, he didn't spoke. I was on my knees to get different viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
He never spoke. Then Marshall Thompson comes and saw that creature like me kneeling in front of him. He came in with a photographer in the White House, in a Secret Service man who stood on the wall like this. You could do this, and he looked straight ahead, you know, flinch like this, anyway. So I was on my knees like this, going down. Mr. Vice President, I have not talked to you. He never looked up. Could we chat a little bit? He continued. No. Could you ask me, at first, could you ask me a question? And he looked up. He said, are you a member of the silent majority? It was in the 70s, 1970. What do you see? You have to answer. I told him, Mr. Vice President, look, I don't have long hair. And Marshall Thompson came and said, Mr. Vice President, he is a member. So he stood up and shook hands with me again.
You could ask Roman if he photographed Agnew, would he have been on his knee to take the picture?
You may think he just wouldn't.
Just ask him that
All
question.
right, you going to answer that?
When I take portraits of people, the most important for me is the moment, one moment when the person is completely relaxed or thinking of something. So when I take a portrait, it's very different. I don't take photograph of the face. I take picture of personality. And that is, I am copying the greatest masters of the 16th and 17th centuries. I am copying them. I know that I do not anything different from Leonardo. And this is the real approach. So if I am shooting several times, I am shooting with the purpose of getting the person completely relaxed.
But what is that something, that personality, not the way the eye looks or the guy's cockeyed or the nose is long. You look if that's something else.
You don't take the picture only with your camera. You take the picture with your heart. And this is the most important. If I would photograph Agnew, everybody will tell that's a dirty person.
Would you approach it the same way?
most-
I mean, is that the way you approach portrait photography?
Everybody is different. You
And he would not be-
I'm taking it, let's say, took
For
it
the
for a
cover.
magazine.
Right,
That's very different. I don't know.
Very
whether-
different.
Right.
yes.
It's very, very different, you know. I have to, when I come to a personality, I have to know, let's say, if it's an art historian or if it's a composer, I have to know about music. That's the reason I have to read quite a lot about music, study the paper. The most important thing for me is, and I have learned that, don't be in awe of anybody.
Isaac's picture of Goebbels.
right.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah.
Talk about evil.
Well, yeah, no, this is also a very well-known picture, which I took in 1933, September, the 15th League of Nations in Geneva. 3 months after Hitler became not Führer, became Chancellor of the Reich. And I worked at that time for the Associated Press. And I have a picture, which I found, by the way, which I took about half a minute or 15 seconds before. He looks at a reporter besides me and smiles, and then I lift my camera again. The reporter went away. He looks at me like this. He thought I'm going to wither, but I didn't wither. When I have a camera in my hand, I don't know fear. At that time, I didn't know fear. When I have a camera in my hand, I can do anything. I looked at him and photographed him. And another thing, I had to photograph operations, breast operations, but I can only photograph an operations when Margaret McBride was operated, and she watched an operation of a thalamus operation. I can only photograph it when I look through the viewfinder. But when I look like this, I would faint right away. I never took my camera from my eye,
I mean,
because otherwise I would faint.
it gives you magic powers. Then.
Magic powers.
Well, this is a
I
big
was
question, isn't
something like
it?
that.
I said,
I'm a fanatic of a camera. I mean, still.
I mean, you would face the Chinese army as long as you had the camera.
No, I don't
In
know.
front of you.
No. I mean, but at that
here
time,
is Isaac, who's rather diffident and gentle. I know no fear when I have a camera in my hand. How were you when you were right in the middle, in the Nazi moment, in the Warsaw Ghetto, and you were among those
No,
in
that's
that camp?
probably-
Did you have any fear?
I don't know what fear is even today. Danger is my business. And I don't think that I should think, how should I survive, or not to take this picture, because this can expose me. I was dressed in Nazi uniform when I took picture of burning of books, or when I took pictures of the Crystal Night. I was in Nazi uniform.
You were there in Crystal
I cried
Night?
Heil Hitler. That was 38. That was not during the war. During the war, I was here. So I was not in the time of the destruction or the killing of the gas chambers. I was here.
Was the photo essay partly caused by the format of those big picture magazines like Life and Perry Match and Look?
Well, the development of the photographic essay and a photographic magazine, you're speaking to Isaac here, who was into the very beginning in Germany, where it was really born. Why don't you tell him about that?
when I came to the United States, I did many stories already in Germany or in Europe for the Associated Press, and they sold those stories in America. 1 or 2 or 3 years after Life came out, I was interviewed, and they asked me, but didn't the editors tell you what to take? I said, hell, they didn't tell me what to take. All Life photographers were great individualists, and they could do anything we could do. The editors left it up to the photographer to take. But I remember one advice, Danny Longwell, one of our one of our first executive editors gave me when I had to do a story on Roosevelt Hospital. He said, Alfred, you can do anything you want. The only thing I don't want to see is blood. Now, how different. About 6-7 months ago, the New Life magazine published stories where there was a lot of blood, 1 inch high in color.
I used to hear a story around Time and Life about you, and I didn't understand it until now because it was about seeing blood. And I always thought it was about being disturbed at the sight of blood. And I always thought this couldn't be a true story because Eisenstaedt must have seen blood everywhere, all over the world. And the story was that you and a reporter named Bergamini were going through the jungle. David Bergamini to film some shoot some.
It was a tropical rainfall.
Tropical rainfall. But you were going through, and then he used the machete because the guide was getting tired, and he cut himself just as you came at the perfect light to what you were going to photograph, and you looked at him and you said, Bergamini, I can't photograph when you're bleeding.
No, it's a
and you said, quit bleeding, Bergamini. And that became kind of a cry among reporters at Life. They would yell at each other, quit bleeding, Bergamini. Is that an apocryphal story?
It's true.
It's true. It's true. He admits all.
You know, he wanted to kill morphos, butterflies, with a machete, killing them like this.
It's funny.
And he cut himself.
Yeah.
So the point is capturing that picture. By God, never mind them. I gotta get that.
Right. He could bleed later when the light wasn't good.
No, I didn't know that when he was bandaged, he was like this, and the blood came out. And terrible.
We gotta drop the other shoe. And the question is, does a photographer have the power to alter the way we think today to some extent?
Well, it is really there are all kinds of raison d'etre. Why am I a photographer? Why am I a certain kind of a photographer? Do I get involved or do I just observe? You can take it as it distributes itself. And of course, the development of photography of the last 50 years, mainly through the magazine development, became a mass communication medium. We have Life magazine, Look magazine, Picture Post in England, Match in France, and Schweiz, the Münchner Illustrator, Berliner Illustrator, going backwards to Germany. They have informed and affected people's thinking through the visual image.
Thank you for being with us this evening.